Hi there, welcome to another flight review. Today I'm transiting at Changi Airport Terminal 3 in Singapore. My transit was around 4 hours, so I just strolled around the terminal. I visited the Buterfly Garden, which is open 24 hours. However, there were no butterflies around at night. But it is such a unique facility to have in an airport terminal. You can also see some flowers here, but of course it is better to visit during the day, although you can see some butterflies inside the glass container. Because I was also hungry, I went up to try the Singapore Food Street food court. I ordered the deep fried garlic chicken with mango salad. My flight for tonight will be SQ231 bound for Sydney, departing at 55 minutes past midnight. I tried to get a shot of my plane that night, but an A350 was blocking the view. And from every angle I tried, the view wasn't that great either, especially with an iPhone camera at night. You can also see the light reflection here. Not long after, it was time to go to the gate. My gate was also shared with gates B1 to B4. First, it was time to get through the security check. And here we are. As you can see, this is a very big gate area. And my gate is B2 bound for Sydney. Around 30 minutes before departure time, boarding began. With the capacity of an A380, the boarding line felt quite cramped. Of course, for the boarding process, Singapore Airlines prioritizes its premium classes and priority passengers to board first. And finally, it was time for economy passengers to board. This would be my fourth time flying on an A380. Don't forget to take the wired earphones before you enter the cabin. Now I'm on board, it's time to find my seat. My seat for today will be 73K in the last section of the main deck cabin. The Singapore Airlines A380 comes with a 343 seat configuration and a seat pitch of 32 inches. And here I am. This is my seat for the next 7 hours to Sydney. A pillow and blanket were also provided on the seat. Each seat comes with an 11.6-inch touchscreen. And this is my window view for this flight. While we still have time, let's take a seat tour. The screen in front of you can be adjusted accordingly. Moving to the left side, you'll find some control buttons, a USB charging port, and a headphone port. Moving to the middle part, you have a little compartment, and to the right side is the cup holder. Moving down is the foldable tray table. And it also has a mirror on it, which is a very thoughtful feature. You can unfold it to fully extend the table. Now let's fold it back. The legroom is generous with plenty of seat pockets available. One thing I like about sitting in a window seat on an A380 is that you have this extra space next to the wall. The window itself is massive on the inside but quite small to look outside. Now the boarding is complete and we are ready for departure. The boarding process took a bit of time and put us slightly behind schedule. So the crew moved the hot towel service to be served after takeoff as we needed to rush to depart. Soon the pushback started and the crew prepared the cabin for takeoff. The safety video then started playing.
Welcome aboard Singapore Airlines. As the safety equipment on this aircraft may differ from that on other aircraft, please give us your attention as we bring you through this important safety briefing and on our journey through Singapore.
Our plane then started taxiing to runway 02C.
Pull the lateral straps to tighten it and breathe off your head. In an emergency evacuation, inflate your life vest only at the exit door and step into the right.
Runway 02C is located on the other side of the terminal, so it took quite some time for us to reach our runway. And then soon the cabin lights were dimmed. Now, Singapore's Changi Airport is the busiest airport in Southeast Asia, and the first A380 commercial flight in the world was from Singapore to Sydney, with Singapore Airlines as the launch customer of the A380 back in 2007. So yeah, flying on this iconic A380 as well as on the iconic route felt so special for an aviation enthusiast like me. Finally, we reached our runway, and without any stop, our plane went straight for takeoff. After takeoff, our plane then turned southeast towards Australia. And once the seatbelt sign was switched off, the crew then distributed the hot towel. Now, as we departed around 1 AM, the first priority for me was preparing for a comfortable sleep, including opening the blanket. The blanket was packed in plastic, and I really like the soft and warm blanket material. Soon, the crew began the quick refreshment service, and we were required to close the window blind as the sun would rise shortly outside. To stay awake, let's open the earphones. These earphones plug can be converted from a dual pin to a single pin by folding it to the side. But for now, let's just plug it into the headphone port. A quick note is that you can adjust the headphone wire to your comfort. And it has left and right indicators along with the SQ logo. The earphones are now ready. Let's start the entertainment screen. You can also log in with your KrisFlyer account for a more personalized experience. This is the home page. Tap the My Flight menu to look for your flight information. There are also plenty of new movies available to watch. There's also some TV shows, music catalogs, a library for books and audiobooks, and also some games. There's also a setting to adjust the screen's brightness and the volume output. You can also connect your personal device to in-flight Wi-Fi. However, the Wi-Fi network will depend on the location and conditions outside. Next is the in-flight map. The 3D in-flight map comes with different views, including autoplay view, flight preview, total route view, mid-flight view, an overhead view, and a window seat view. There's also some information about the flight. The crew then started the light refreshment service. For tonight's flight, I went with the 4-cheese pizza bar. You can see the ingredient details on the back. The pizza itself was warm and delicious. As usual, I opted for apple juice as the beverage. After a light meal, the cabin was prepared for sleeping. I noticed the mood lighting gradually changing and dimming. And this is when the turbulence started. Some passengers were preparing for sleep, while some just skipped the meal and went to sleep right away. I initially planned to stay up throughout the flight, but I really need to sleep. So I just dimmed the screen and prepared myself for sleep. I woke up around 1 or 2 hours later as we were preparing for breakfast. I noticed it was less than 4 hours before arrival, so it was time to use the free 3-hour onboard Wi-Fi for KrisFlyer members. Simply connect to Kris World Wi-Fi, put in your surname and seat number, and you're good to go. Not my dad tracking the whole flight. The cabin lights then slowly turned on, and breakfast was served. So this is the whole tray served. And we got silver cutlery, which is really good in economy. We got seasonal fresh fruit, a fruit yogurt, and I just opted for water this time. We also got the cannery butter and whole milk. Because I cannot eat pork, I opted for chicken, but I do have an allergy to some Chinese noodles, including this one, so I just skipped the main course. So yeah, not the best flight for me. As we were getting close to Sydney, I decided to charge my phone, because I would have a long day ahead. And it was time for a lavatory visit. Going to the aft cabin, you'll find 2 toilets and the iconic stairs to the upper deck. But the upper deck was limited to business class passengers only. Down here you'll find a mirror, but no snack bar like on Qantas A380. Now let's get inside the toilet. I surprisingly found the toilet to be brighter than on my previous A380 flight. The toilet was pretty decent and clean, and you have many mirrors. And of course, a warm tap water. To throw the towels away, simply tap on the red flap to open the bin. You will find cups, menstrual pads, dental kits, and hand lotion. Overall, very complete amenities for economy class. There's also a changing table for babies. Now I'm done, let's go outside. This area is really good for stretching your legs as there is no crew galley here. Back at my seat, the Australian Customs arrival video started playing. In your seat pocket, you'll find a safety information card, a Wi-Fi instruction card and how to connect to the in-flight Wi-Fi, and an in-flight magazine. We were finally allowed to open our window blinds at this time, and it was already bright outside. Take this moment to fill the arrival incoming passenger card that was distributed by the gate agent when you boarded the plane in Singapore. Make sure to fill it correctly as they keep these in your profile records. Another thing to highlight is the universal power outlet with a green light indicator to show the power was on. Usually, it will be turned off during takeoff and landing. Now we are getting closer to Sydney. You can see it's only 41 minutes before arrival. The crew then prepared the cabin for arrival, and soon the seatbelt sign light was turned on. I did notice that there was a coat hanger on the side of the seat, but I rarely see people use it in economy. We then started our approach into Sydney Airport. Now I have to say, this flight's timetable was not the best for me, as SQ231 departed almost at 1 AM Singapore time. You will not sleep until 2 hours later because of the refreshment service at around 2 AM. So that is a super late dinner, and once you're finished, you only sleep for an hour or two, then they wake you up for breakfast because it's already past breakfast time in Sydney. For the worst case scenario, like my situation, I couldn't eat breakfast at all. And when we landed in Sydney, it was already lunchtime at around 12 PM. So yeah, basically the meal schedule was not the best one. And I don't have gastric problems, but if you do, please adjust your mealtime wisely. And I might suggest you choose the earlier Singapore Airlines A380 flight, which is SQ231, departing at 8:40 PM Singapore time, so you will get a better meal schedule. Now this is our landing process into Sydney Kingsford Smith Airport. I'll talk to you soon after landing. Welcome to Sydney, Australia.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sydney. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign is off. It's been our pleasure serving you on this flight. Thank you for flying Singapore Airlines, a member of Star Alliance.
Our plane then started taxiing to International Terminal 1. Overall, it was such a comfortable flight. Other than the red-eye schedule, I don't have any complaints. Maybe next time I'll try to pre-book my special halal meal so I wouldn't end up starving by skipping the main course. The crew were fantastic on this flight, even though we had quite a rough turbulence. Their professionalism and safety standards remain the best. I'm really happy whenever flying with them. You can see the SQ221 A380 that I mentioned earlier parked over there. So this marks the end of my entire Singapore Airlines flight experience from Sydney to Jakarta and return. I hope you enjoyed the whole video, and hopefully my shared experience was insightful in case you plan to fly on some of these routes in the future.
Big crew, doors to disarm.
So apparently I sat right above the giant rear baggage compartment door. Now, as I was seated in the last section of economy class, it means I will be disembarking last. So now let's take a final look at our seat from the last 7 hours from Singapore. Let's disembark from the plane. And it might take a while, so I tried to get as much footage as possible. It was really a long walk to the front. And here I am, back in Sydney. That was my ride, registration 9 Victor Sierra Kilo November. Now as we arrived at gate 61, it will take quite a walk to reach the main arrival terminal. Once you have arrived at the main terminal, you will go through the duty-free area, then clear immigration, before collecting your baggage at the baggage claim area. Now that I have all my baggage, I will then need to clear customs before getting out. And I'm back in Sydney. So good to be back. It was during Chinese New Year, so yeah, you can see all those decorations. I then went to the train station for the international terminal and headed to CBD. I think that's all for today. See you in the next Sydney vlog.